Elections for Mama Liberia, a 1 hour radio program that supports women participation and inclusion in elections. This program is produced by Democracy International's Elections and Democracy Activity with funding from USAID. The Elections for Mama Liberia program is aired every Wednesday at 10:30 on ELBC and repeated on ECOWAS Radio at 5 p.m. on Wednesdays, on OKFM at 8 a.m. on Fridays, and on Prime FM every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. The program will also be repeated on 30 community radio stations across Liberia. Thank you for joining us. In today's edition of the program, we are discussing the upcoming elections, how prepared are we as Liberians, and what do we expect in these remaining days. My guest today, she's still a guest anyway, because she will call in. So my guest today Madam Tevieto Brown Lasana, the chairperson of the National Elections Commission, and Madam Baru Johnson Williams, the national coordinator of the Elections Coordinating Committee, the ECC. I am your host, Seattle Scott Johnson.
All hail, Liberia, hail, all hail, Liberia, hail, this glorious land of liberty. All hail, Liberia, hail.
What's making your face sour again today? I'm supposed to pay my landlord.
Election is everybody's business. Everybody needs to choose our leaders, and everybody needs a chance to lead. Liberians agree for elections to be fair. Our sisters and daughters must also be there. Everybody wants leaders who can bring peace and manage our nation. Let's think of women in the election and help make Mama Liberia better. Election is everybody's business. Let's include men and women. Let's think of women in the election and help make Mama Liberia better. Election is everybody's business. Let's include women. This message is made possible with funding from the American people through USAID. The content do not necessarily reflect the views of Democracy International, USAID, or the US government.
Mami ka fu, mami ka senka tuwe, kinke dire dua ba, kinke dire da kebe kwa senkwa wonde, kinke dire re nu ke ka be kwa senkwa wonde, ye ke kwa mi fiembo, kwa duo ye nu kwa no be inde akpokpo duo vonu, kwa duo nde ke ajire ekebe ke oke kwa ba, ye kwa mi fiembo, kinke dire kebe kwa senkwa wonde, kinke dire ke ka nu da abo enu ke kwa da bia de beya ka ye ke kwa mi fiembo kwa ge go do voto wa ngwa o mese kwa wonde ka yi ma ye ka kinke dire da ke ka be kwa die pe ke popo kwa duo yenu kwa duo vole ke ajire ekebe o da kwa ba wala ke me na wa perenu kwa de la oto America mia USAID me na we mo le to Democracy International USAID le USA comme na we mo.
Welcome back. Women have always and will continue to provide leadership in governance here in Mama Liberia. Let me mention the contributions of 2 Liberian women who have contributed to Mama Liberia in different ways as leaders. Beginning with T. Mussolin Cooper. Tarete Harriet Eugenia Mussolin Cooper, also known as T. Mussolin Cooper or CKA T. Mus, was a Liberian educator, a politician, and the first woman to serve as foreign minister in Liberia. She worked as a school teacher between graduation and high school. She was an education minister in the Charles Taylor shadow government from 1990 to 1993 in the National Patriotic Reconstruction Assembly government, and she was responsible for curriculum development at the Ministry of Education. In 1994, she was appointed as the Foreign Minister of Liberia during the period of the Civil War. In 2003, Mussolini Cooper was the first minister of the newly established Ministry of Gender and Development, a position she held till 2005. Let's also look at Frances Johnson Morris. Frances Johnson Morris is a Liberian lawyer who has served Liberia in many different ways. She was a circuit judge court judge in the 1990s and then made Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in 1997. She became the chairperson of the National Election Commission in 2005, the election that produced the first democratically elected female president of Liberia and Africa, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Frances Johnson Morris was also the chairperson of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission and also Minister of Commerce and Industry. Madam Johnson Morris was appointed Minister of Justice in 2006, simultaneously holding the office of Attorney General. So having women leading and making decisions for Liberia alongside men is not a new thing. We've always had women in decision-making positions. Again, welcome to the program, and it is clear that our audience is tuned in to hear the contribution. Thank you, Baulu, for being here. We know we expected the elections chairperson, Madam Tibeta Brown Lasana, in person, but we all know how tight her schedule is, how she's struggling between everything right now because we have few days to elections. However, she has promised to call in and we'll get in touch with her. She will give all the pieces of information we need that around surrounds the election. So we are glad that Madam Lasana is doing this for us. It is a pleasure to have her on the line to be able to give the Liberian people the necessary information. So while we await to get in touch with Madam Lasana, let me start with Baulu. So Baulu, what can you say about the upcoming elections from the end of the ECC while we get in touch with Madam Brown? As soon as I have Madam Brown, then I will just bring her on and then she can make her contributions. But before then, let's go ahead.
Okay, good morning, Siata, and thank you for having me on the program. I also want to extend my thanks to Madam Lynn of the Democracy International, who has provided this opportunity to allow the ECC to allow me speak about the work of the ECC and what we've been doing from the pre-election process up to this point, and hoping to observe the election day processes. I also want to extend my appreciation to USAID, who is supporting this program and is also as well supporting the ECC for the observation of the 2023 general elections. So if you will allow me, I will want to say a little bit about the ECC. ECC is a coalition of 7 civil society organizations,
Okay.
and ECC was established in 2010 with the mandate to observe elections. Our first election was observed in 2011, and since then the ECC has been observing major electoral processes.
Okay.
We've also contributed to electoral reform advocacy in Liberia, and one key point of advocacy we can point out to, or we are proud of, is the supporting the section 4.5 for women, improved women participation, even though that law is yet to be passed. But we have been instrumental in ensuring that we support women inclusion into Liberian democracy. Currently, ECC is implementing the Liberia Independent Domestic Election Observation Activity. This initiative is sponsored by the American people through USAID. And we started our work under the LADIO activity since March. Our first major event was when we observed the 2023 biometric voters registration exercise. But before I delve into some of the things we've been doing, I want to say that the LADIO activity has three key components that we want to achieve. We want to ensure that our work will improve public confidence into the electoral process. We also want to ensure that we strengthen our partnership and relationship with key electoral stakeholders and partners, including both national and international partners. And then finally, we want to ensure that at the end of our observation, we're going to channel our key recommendations into advocacy points that we are going to pursue to ensure that the democratic processes of Liberia is improved. We've started, like I said, our observation with the 2023 biometric voters registration exercise. And we at ECC, our structure is kind of like any other organization. We have layers. So we have the 7 civil society organizations that form the coalition of the ECC and that make up the board of the ECC. That board is responsible for policy, for decision making. We also have the secretariat that is below the board, and that secretariat is responsible for operations. That is where I sit as national coordinator. We have our staff who have been doing a wonderful job since this election started. And then we have our county level structures. So we have 19 county coordinators, each assigned to a next magisterial area. And then we have 73 electoral district observers, but now we call them supervisors because they are
So you
going
have
to
one per district, one observer per district.
yes, electoral district
Electoral, no electoral
supervisors.
district.
Yes,
One.
yes, one per district. Yes, so as we
You know the
move,
districts are big.
yes, but we have 73 districts, so that is kind of a fair distribution to ensure that ECC has a voice or an eye in every electoral district of the country.
So you're not monitoring per polling places and police stations, you're monitoring per the entire district?
No, we are going to come to election day. This is for the pre-election processes. I'm trying to set the basis of how our work started, what our county structures are. So we have 19 county coordinators, and then we have 73 electoral district observers or supervisors. And each of them is going to play a supervisory role on election day. However, below those supervisors, we have observers or election observers. We also call them short-term election observers. So the 19 county coordinators and the 73 electoral district supervisors, we call them long-term observers because we've been working with them since the voter registration process started. So these people, 92 in total, we have 55 that are men and 37 that are women, which makes up 42% of the total number. So we are working with a higher number of women when we look at our LTO's
We've been
structure
trying
in
to
there.
get in contact with the chair. I think she's on the line.
You're speaking to me now.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure having you on this show.
Thank you very much, Theater.
Okay, thank you. So, Madam Chair, what can you say about the upcoming election? How prepared are we?
As we have been telling the Liberian people, the Commission is well prepared for the 2023 October 10 general elections. As a matter of fact, we have recently deployed to the field election materials, which include ballots. So far, deployment has reached 11 of the 15 counties, and the remaining counties are being prepared to receive their election materials. All temporary staff have gone through recruitment processes and training, including magistrates who have received training, TOTs, to train their staff in the field. The management team here at the Elections Commission is also going through training and are prepared to conduct these elections.
So thank you so much for the level of work so far. We do appreciate it as Liberians. So are there specific things Liberians need to look up for October 10 to participate?
It is very important that all eligible Liberians, that is, you are 18 years old and above when you went through our biometric voter registration to vote in these elections. So the commission says to all Liberians, you must be prepared to come to vote with your voter ID card. That's the only way you will be allowed to vote. If you don't have the biometric voter ID card, you will not be allowed to vote in these elections. When you come, please conduct yourself in the queue. You find the room that you are supposed to vote, that is the polling place, and you compose yourself. When you get to the point, the staff will be there to receive you, to receive your card. They will check in the FRR, that is the final registration roll, which is printed and is given to the staff at the polling place. They will look in there and see whether your registration is in that particular polling place. And if it is there, they will give you the ballot. You go behind the screen and you choose your leader, that is on the presidential level, the senatorial level, and the representative level. When you finish choosing your leaders, you put your ballot back into the boxes that you will see in front of you with the different colors, and you walk outside of the polling place and leave the grounds of the polling center. So you allow other people to be processed. Basically, this is what we will say. Don't allow anyone to stop you or deter you from voting the person of your choice.
So what can we say about security and if there is any problem at a particular center?
Usually, the National Elections Commission works along with the Ministry of Justice through the Liberia National Police, which collaborates with all of the other security apparatus, making it the joint security. They are deployed with us, that is conveying our materials to be deployed to the field. We have the LMP there with us to provide security during the escort of these materials. And they are deployed throughout the precincts. That is, there's a perimeter where the security people usually stand to observe what is going on and to help to keep the peace. So that if anyone has any grievances that perhaps they approach the election supervisors who normally would be around there, and if not immediately, they can approach the staff on ground in the polling places who will direct them. If they have any grievances, they can approach our staff. If it's election matter, we can handle it. But if it's any situations regarding violence or so, the joint security will be available to handle that situation.
Madam Chair, I know you're very busy, so let me just ask you the last question to let you go. What are your thoughts on elections in Liberia, looking at the need for everyone to participate, especially in minority groups and people with disabilities?
During the biometric voter registration, the gender section working with UN Women and other international and local organizations held various levels of workshops, raising awareness with Liberians in different groups, as you have named, to ensure that participation is increased during the biometric voter registration as well as during these elections. So it is anticipated that all of these groups, people living with disabilities and other women's groups, will come with their voter ID cards to cast their votes in these elections. We have been working around the clock, and let me also inform that the ballots that we have procured also include tactile ballots. These ballots have gone to training with the users of these ballots, which training was conducted by the NEC and the gender section, as well as UN Women. So it's expected that, and we are hoping that this time around, the tactile ballots will be used, and that there will be an increased number in the use of those tactile ballots, which are available at the magisterial offices, along with other ballots and sensitive as well as non-sensitive materials throughout the 15 counties and the 19 magisterial offices.
So, finally, if I don't ask this question, I will not be doing myself justice. How has it been so far, being a female heading the neck with all the Liberians who say wahala around it?
I would say that I have survived all of the stones, the words, and what have you. It's a difficult thing, but I have always been prepared. My father used to say that life is tougher for a woman because she gets beaten up by all of these utterances. But we should take courage that whatever people say to you, however they bring it, you can withstand it because you are prepared for it. He also used to say a woman must be educated. She must also be politically inclined so she can know, what comes at her and how she may be able to respond. So we have survived internally here at the Elections Commission and externally in the wider public. We'll continue to do our job. We'll continue to remain focused, even though, some Liberians have thrown jabs at me individually as well as with the commission. But we lift our heads up high because we have a job to do, and this mandate will be fulfilled in these general elections. We are on top of it, and we pray that all goes well and Liberians will accept the results.
Thank you so much. Is there anything we didn't talk about you want to say before you leave?
I just want to encourage all of us to turn out. We have to turn out. We should not sit there and say, oh, it's the people's thing. It is your thing, because the decision that you make by casting your vote for whomever you want to cast your vote for, that's the decision you are going to live with. We also want to assure the Liberian people that this board and the commission has integrity. We have demonstrated that before in the 2020 senatorial elections, and we are going to demonstrate that in these elections. No one should have fear, because there's a lot of fear being expressed around that we are not going to do the right thing. We say we will do the right thing, because the vote cast by Liberians in those ballot boxes will be processed right in front of them, including party agents who we encourage to be at the 5,890 polling places of the 2080 precincts. All of you must be there at all of these places. When party agents are on the ground, all of these rumors that have been going around can easily be dispelled. The commission is committed to integrity of the process and credibility of the results. So I urge all of us to please turn out, those of us who have our cards, and vote on the 10th of October. Cast your vote, and we can all at the end say, this is the final time that we get to make our voices heard, and these voices will be heard, and the outcome will be read to the Liberian people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and thank you for leaving your busy schedule to talk to us and to talk to the Liberian people. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Siata. Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you so much again, Madam Chair. And that was the voice of the Election Commission. I like when she ended with the commission has integrity. We did it before in 2020, and we're going to do it again. She didn't stop there. She said the vote that you will be casting on October 10 will represent you for the next 6 or 9 years. So she's encouraging Liberians to get out there to vote. She laid out some arrangements on that day, and she has assured us Liberians that our votes will be safe and it will be secret. She has also assured us that the polling places will be violence free, and she has cautioned us that if you done voting, if you finish with your voting in a normal Liberian way, we will say you finish voting, go home. It means that something will happen, but just to clear the place for other people to come there to vote. Because if you finish voting and you stay around, the place will be packed. And those of us that might come later to vote might not have the space to come to vote. So she mean when she say finish voting and go home, that means something coming to happen. No, that just to clear the space so you can be able, so other people can come there to vote again. We say thank you because she has a very tight schedule. Everybody in Liberia knows right now that the most basic person in Liberia right now is David Eto Brown Lasana. So if she can take a few minutes of that basic schedule to talk to us, we really, really appreciate it. So come back to you, Baulu. And sorry for cutting you off, but we needed to do this because this is very important for the Liberian people to hear from the commissioner herself. And I like the way she talked about her position and everything that been coming back to back. So we really appreciate that you are able to pause for us to take the commissioner. Thank you too, Baulu, and we can continue.
Of course, and I say thank you as well to the NEC, especially Madam Lasana, for the level of work she has done so far. And we at the ECC believe that these elections are going to be credible. They should trust the NEC. We trust the NEC. We've been observing the NEC, and we are also going to be at the polls in addition to party agents who will be observing the process.
Yeah, that was something she made really, really clear. Party agents should be there. Yeah. Party agents should be at every center, to be there. And she was clear and simple that the votes will be counted right before our eyes. I mean, our eyes as Liberians will be right there. We'll be looking, our agents, our observers like ECC, international. There are a lot of other international observers, even feature. We also have observers in the field and looking around. So, it will be fair, clear, and visible.
Okay, so as I was saying, we've been observing the pre-election processes. We started from the voter registration, and now we are at the campaign. We are currently observing the campaign. These 92 LTOs that are deployed in every district and county, as well as assigned to the next magisterial area. So we've been observing the processes, and we are at the campaign stage, and we are preparing for election day observation. So let me say a little bit about what we are going to be doing.
Okay, I was just about to go there.
Yeah,
you talk about all the basic things, preparing for what?
Exactly. So election day, we have recruited and trained 1,500 election day observers.
Wow.
We call them short-term observers because they are only going to be observing on election day, and after that, that is it. So we call them short-term observers, or we call them election day volunteers. So we've recruited and trained 1,500 of these observers, supported both by USAID and Irish Aid.
Okay.
We have trained 702 women observers that are going to be deployed at polling stations, and 784 male observers. Okay. So if you look at the the distribution, we have 47% of our observers, or our short-term observers, that are women, and 53% that are men.
So what are you observing? What are you looking for?
So our observation, we say, is systematic.
Okay.
We train our observers and we give them checklists or reporting tools. And on that checklist, we have a set of questions that we ensure that our observers, while they are observing the process, they respond to those questions. So, for example, we are going to be asking on what time the polling station or the polling places open.
Okay.
According to the NEC, polling places are going to be open from 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m. So we want to ask and want to know what time those polling places actually open.
Okay.
And we have a range of time because we know that there could be some issues around logistics, around deployment. So we want to know if the NEC open at 8 o'clock for all 5,890 polling places. That is a great job. Even if they open 90% of the polling places around 8 or between 8 or 9, that is also a great job.
So she mentioned the issue of deployment. So are you going to be observing the process of deployment? Because she said, I think a lot of the counties have already received their materials, even though they still have few counties that they are making deployment.
Yes, our county coordinators are currently monitoring the movement of voting materials and equipment at the county level. And on Sunday, the ECC is going to be having a press conference to speak to what are some of those things we saw at the end of the campaign and what we've observed so far about the movement and deployment of election materials at the county level.
So the program you're listening to is Elections for Mama Liberia, a 1-hour radio program that supports women participation and inclusion in elections. And this program is produced by Democracy International Elections and Democracy Activity with funding from USAID. So get prepared to call us on 0880-514-096 or 0777-574931. So we can hear your views. I think you've listened to the chairperson of the National Elections Commission. I'm sure she's still following, or workers are following. If you have any specific question, she might not be able to address it now, but you can put it through. She'll be listening and she can find a way to address it if it's something concerning the process. So we're going to be taking a quick break and we'll take our skip. When we return, we'll open the phone lines. You can chat with Baulu if you have some issues, not issues, but you have some comments with the election commission. You can just put it in, we'll jot it down, and you can get it over to them. So we'll take a break right now with our skits, and then when we return, we'll open the phone lines. Again, the number is 0880-514-096 0777-574931.
Election is everybody's business. Everybody needs to choose our leaders, and everybody needs the chance to lead. Liberians agree for elections to be fair. Our sisters and daughters must also be there. Everybody wants leaders who can bring peace and manage our nation. Let's think of women in the election and help make Mama Liberia better. Election is everybody's business. Let's include men and women. Let's think of women in the election and help make Mama Liberia better. Election is everybody's business. Let's include women. This message is made possible with funding for the American people through USAID. The content do not necessarily reflect the views of Democracy International, USAID, or the US government.
Wote ibe akolele abe ne be igboro yakundira abe be no kafanga di moma be kundi ya loke dabia ka be dinya kafa ko wote mi ketelesi akoka ay mo bia ni musuru ay mo de musuru ay gbasa ikegeno abe ne kundu fana ikege ay na giso agini la fere ay mo feka ay ma du wasawati ay mi hangira ka musuru ma ay ma wote wate ro ay mi de ay ma du ka ka du wasawati wote ibe akolele ay mi ke ni musuru bia alo ay mi yara kan musuru ma ay ma wote wate mi no ka de menga di moma kama la bi yara da wote mi no be akole ay mi musuru gbasa bia ro samaka mi sinene ay mamuna weba akoro wole American garu katimi USAID samaka amine amabo eruboro akene Democracy International USAID by US government.
We'll now open the phone lines, as we said earlier on, to take calls, and the numbers are 0880-514-096 or 0777-574931. Somebody is on the line. Good morning.
My name is Daniel B. Snow, and I call you from 11th Street.
Daniel from 11th Street. Go ahead.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Daniel P. Snow.
Okay, I have a problem from what the lady said about the timing.
Which lady?
Polling places will be open from 8 to 6.
Okay. What's
Well,
the problem now?
October time, we stay in a rainy season. Why if people cannot live there and then they are standing in a queue with their voter with a VR card and then they close the polling places and no people don't vote. What will really happen?
No,
Thank you.
Tanya, they wouldn't close the polling place when people in the lines. So when they say polling place close at 6, I believe at 6 p.m., the queue controller will stand at the back of the queue. So all those in the line will vote, even if it goes up to 9 in the night, 10 in the night. I know I've monitored polling places like the 2020 elections, and even at 8, 9, 10 in the night, people were still voting. So thank you, Daniel. Let's take another caller.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
My name is Alan Brown. My best and call from Liberia Junction.
Okay, Alan.
Okay, my concern is to the next chairman.
Go ahead.
Those who did multiple registration, the intent was to fraud the system. And those who cards were missing, we pay $5 US for each of the cards. When it said over 9 to the 7,000 person was the whole register. So why are they allowing the people after that with the criminal act? Why are they not saying when you come to the place, that card the police will arrest you because police will be there?
We will share your concern with the NEC.
The intent of the registration was to fraud the system, to cheat.
We will share your concern with the NEC, and then we will address that concern, Ali. So we have someone on the orange line, but then we're talking to the person on the lone side, the call went off. But yeah, Baulu, as we still with more callers, you can say something on somebody there. Hello? Somebody still there? Hello? Chris calling from Johnsonville. Wait 1 minute, just send the line, Chris.
I was telling people, how can you determine what are the voters that are going to vote to them or be on this party or this party? So thank you for NEC for coming out to give some clarity. So we the voters. Thank you.
And that why we really wanted NEC to be here. At least she took off the time to speak to the people. So some of those concerns were addressed. Thank you. You said the name again?
So they'll be cheating. Why they don't want to broker?
Yeah, I don't. You talking about polling the election, the ID card?
Yes. Because we'll go around say
the chairperson has assured us. She has assured us that there will be no cheating. She did it before in 2020, and we're all excited she will do it again. So let's trust the process. Thank you.
I know she will do it.
Thank you.
So, in addition to monitoring or observing the opening process,
so he was concerned about, because he said we open 8 and close 6. So we can say more on that, even though I said something on it.
You said exactly what the NEC has been saying.
Okay.
You show up at 8 o'clock, you will meet a queue controller, you stand in the line, and up to 6 when you are in the line, the last person in the line, the queue controller is going to go and stand behind that final person and ensure that everybody in the queue before 6 p.m. vote. That's why we are going to deploy our observers, and we even have a question on our checklist. What time did the polling place close? At 6 p.m. or at
So when you're talking about close, it's not like closing it to.
Yes,
it's like standing the queue controller.
The last person voted. So that's the intent of the question. We also asked that were voters in the line at 6 p.m. allowed to vote? Because that is what the NEC has said they will do. As long as you are in the line at 6 o'clock p.m., you are going to be allowed to vote. So we are also tracking that process as well.
Okay.
We are going to also be looking at the availability of voting materials at each and every polling place, and we are going to keep our eyes on.
So, Paulu, let me hear you again. That's the advantage of being present. Let me take this caller. Hello? Hello? Your name and where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, your name?
Yeah, hello?
Hello, I'm hearing you. Your name and where are you calling from? Are you hearing me? Hello? Okay, that person off the line. Sorry, Bauru, we'll keep interrupting you, you know. That's a good thing of being here in person.
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Somebody else on the line. Hello?
Okay, I'm Daniel Snow again. I have a question about the preparation. Why is it that
Tanya, I'm not hearing you so low.
card will not be marked after voting? Because there should be an indication that you have voted already. Why is it that they are
So okay, we pass that concern on to the next. Why are they not perforating the cards? Right now, we cannot say anything in such in that line because we ourselves we are not close with the authority. Hello,
Hello?
yes, hello, sir. Your name and where you?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Your name and where you?
Hello?
Hello, I'm hearing you. Are you hearing me?
Hello?
I think something's going on with our Lone Star line. So let also the orange line is also on 777-574-931. I think our Lone Star line is tripping on us. So you can also call us on 0777-574931.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hello?
Hello, I think your line has a problem, sir. Either check your line or you change your location. Back to you.
Yes, so we are going to be
So
looking
the
out
question
for,
was, what specific are you observing on that day? What will you be looking up for?
yeah, so we are going to be looking out for the availability of pooling materials,
On
such as
time?
the availability of the final registration roll.
Okay.
Because when voters show up, before you vote, your name has to be checked or
Okay.
marked in the final registration roll. So we want to see whether the NEC has deployed the final registration roll to every polling place.
Okay.
We are also going to be looking out for the availability of ballot papers, as well as the tactile ballot that is going to be used
And
for
she mentioned that.
visually impaired voters. We are going to be looking out for the availability of ink and so forth. So those are the materials we will be watching out for. In addition to materials, we are going to keep our eyes on security deployment.
Okay.
Because security has been a major issue since the pre-election process. We have seen some level of violence so far, and we all
I
know,
was just about to ask, are you observing for violence?
yes,
Especially violence against women?
yes, and we are going to do that through our critical incident reports.
Okay.
Yes, so in addition to our checklist, we have a critical incident reports that we are
Okay, we have another person on the line. Hello, sir. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I'm MSK Dosa calling from. Yeah, good morning.
Yes, I'm hearing you, Ahmed Tonso. Oh God. This Lone Star line is failing us, but you can also call us on the orange line. If you're having issues with the Lone Star, call us on 0777-574931.
be sufficient light
Okay.
available at polling places. However, party agents, observers are encouraged to bring additional lights. We have the portable Chinese light that you can buy as a party agent, as an election observer, and take along with you
Okay.
to ensure that there is ample light. But the NEC has promised us as observers that there will be sufficient lighting available at polling places so that the ballots are counted in a clear view of observers and party agents.
Okay. So if you're still listening, there is still time. There will still be lights for people to count. And again, as you yourself mentioned, that people are even using their phone lights. So if you got your phone light, I know observers will be having their phone lights and think they will manage. So you've heard from a lot of the callers, they are concerned about the timing, the opening and the closing, and there's some concerns they have that we cannot address here because we are not close with the authority to address, especially the ones that have to do with the buffer rating of the card. We've not closed with the authority to talk about that. But the issue have to do with the timing and then the moving from one place to another, like you move to another community. I know you can talk about that.
Yes, I already spoke about the movement. You are going to vote where you are registered.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you register in Monserrado and you currently in Buchanan or Grand Pastor County, please make your way to Monrovia before Tuesday so that you'll be able to vote in Monrovia because that is where you are registered to vote. You are not going to vote at any other place except for the place you are registered.
So what unique is the ECC doing that is different that we can talk about, this specifically the unique thing the ECC is doing to handle this election?
Our observation. What is unique about our observation is that it is systematic.
Okay.
We observe, we collect our data through a systematic means. We have our reporting system where all of our observers are going to be sending their observation report through text messages. And when those text messages hit the system, they are going to be able to be reviewed, analyzed, verified, and confirmed. And we are going to be able to communicate with the public what our observers have reported from the field. So that is one thing that is unique. We are going to be conducting a systematic election observation for the 2023 general elections. And I just want to say additionally, in addition to what we are looking out for, we are also going to keep our eyes on the treatment of people with special needs, or we call them people with disabilities. The NEC has promised that people with special needs, when they appear at the polling station, they are going to be taken to the head of the line, to the front,
Okay.
so that they can be able to cast their ballots quickly and leave and go back home.
Yeah, the
So
chair mentioned that she even mentioned pregnant women.
Keep our eyes on pregnant women, on the elderly voters.
Okay.
And I just want to say that our observers are going to go to the polling place to observe from 6 o'clock in the morning up to the time the ballots are counted and the results posted on the wall.
Oh.
So even if that counting will happen at 12 midnight, our observers are going to be there until the results are posted. They stand right at the polling place, send their reports through the text message before they can leave for home. So we are going to observe the entire election day process.
Entire process. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, callers. I know there are a lot of concern. The lines are boosting and boosting and boosting, but we cannot take all the time with the callers, and we just hope that we could do this more and more and more. But again, callers, you've made your points. The ones that we should transfer to the NEC, we will try to get it to the NEC, and the ones that we can address, we already address them, and I know our guests gave a good feedback. So thank you for calling, and please stop calling for now. We're not taking any calls. We know elections are everybody's business. Everybody needs to choose their leaders, and everybody needs the chance to lead. Liberians agree that for elections to be fair, our sisters and our daughters must also be there. Everybody wants leaders who can bring peace and manage our nation. Let's think of women in these elections and help make Mama Liberia better. Election is everybody's business. Let's include men and women. Let's think of women in these elections and help make Mama Liberia better. Again, election is everybody's business. Let's include women. Together, we can create an enabling environment to improve women's political participation in Liberia. So, Paulo, time is catching up with us. Is there anything you have to say in closing?
Yes, first of all, we are going to, before I say thank you to our observers for volunteering for the ECC, I want to say, in addition to observing election day processes, we are going to follow the tally of results at the magisterial level. So if that process is going to go over for 3 days, our observers are going to be there and they are going to be changing shift.
I was just about to ask.
One is
One person will
tired,
be there for 3 days.
if one is tired, the other person will sit in, the other person relax, and then they exchange shift. But we are going to follow the entire tally of results.
Okay.
And finally, in closing, I want to say thank you to USAID for the support.
Okay.
I also want to say thank you to all Liberians who have volunteered as services to the ECC to serve as citizens election observers, because that is an important role, and we want to say we appreciate you. The board of the ECC is proud of you, and we look forward to ensuring to seeing you turning up at your polling place on election day to observe the process. And we encourage all of our observers to remain non-partisan. We ensure that during our recruitment process, but we encourage you to remain objective in your reporting. Report only what you observe at the polling place.
Even though I said that was your final statement, but something just came into my mind. What are you doing? I mean, you as the ECC, what are you doing to improve women political participation in elections? Or candidates' political participation could be both male and female.
So our work is
ECC.
basically election observation. Even though we are involved with advocacy, and like I mentioned from the very beginning, that we were instrumental in ensuring that the section 4.5 that calls for 30%. Gender quota, the 30% gender quota for women to be included on candidate nomination papers. We were instrumental in ensuring that that particular provision went up to that point until it went before the president for signature. And we are also we will continue our advocacy beyond the election to ensure that women are properly represented at the party's level at decision-making tables. But primarily, what we have control over is our observers. So you see that
cook well.
You see that we have recruited 1,500 observers
so far,
and all of that we have 702 that are women.
Yeah.
So for that, we have control over our recruitment process. We were sure and we were going after the women.
Yeah. Thank you.
During our recruitment.
Well, listeners, we've come to the end of today's edition of the last in our series. Oh wow. Oh, time flies. So this is our last edition for this series, Elections for Mama Liberia, a 1-hour radio program that supports women participation and inclusion in elections, and this is being produced by Democracy International's Elections and Democracy Activity with funding from USAID, from USAID. So thank you for joining us all the time you did. I know we have some people that follow us from the first day to today, the last day of this activity, because this activity is specifically for elections, and today is the last Wednesday to elections. So we say thank you to the ERPC family, and then to all those that are rebroadcasting for us. We say thank you for Elections for Mama Liberia. We say many thanks to our listeners, especially our esteemed callers, and we cannot stop saying thank you to Madam TV Eto Brown Lasana, the chair of the National Election Commission, because we know how busy she is right now, and she was able to take us on time. And also we say thank you to Bawulu Johnson Williams, the national coordinator of the Elections Coordinating Committee. This program is made possible by the generous support of the American people through USAID. The contents do not necessarily reflect the views of USAID, TI, and the government and the US government. I've been your presenter, Siata Scott Johnson. It has been a pleasure to host this series. Remember, election day is Tuesday. Again, remember, election day is Tuesday, October 10. Bring your photo ID card to the first place you register, to where you register. Voting is from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. It means that you will not vote when you're in the line for 6 p.m. 6 p.m., the queue controller will come at the end of the line. So as long as you're in the line before 6 p.m., you will vote. If you are in the line before 6 p.m., you are entitled to vote. But we advise that you come earlier, you vote, and then you go home and just relax and wait for the results of your voting. There will be 3 ballots. 3 ballots, and you have to choose only one candidate on each of these ballots. So the one for the presidential candidate, you will choose. The one for the senator and the one for the representative. So you will be giving you 3 papers. If you need a tactile ballot, that means for the people who are having seeing problem. If you need a tactile ballot, the assistant to the voting place will help you. You tell them, oh, I need a tactile ballot. Ask for it and they will give it to you. And other registered voters can also help you if you ask for the tactile ballot. The line will be very peaceful. We are adding our voices to the voice of the election commissioner, that the lines will be peaceful. The process will be very peaceful. If we come there earlier, we walk slowly we get there and we have the time to vote. So so you have to, the line will be peaceful and with the official results from NEC. All other results you'll be hearing will not be official, and with the official result from NEC. And here is to Liberia a healthy democracy. Democracy that fully include everybody, women, men, minority, people with disability. That democracy is a healthy democracy. As voters, as leaders, we are worthy of full consideration as a candidates. Mama Liberia, come out on Tuesday. Don't get tired. Don't say I'm tired. You already registered to vote. You had a voting card. Come out on Tuesday. Choose wisely for your communities, for your family, for your generation, and for Mama Liberia. Thank you for joining us, and we say bye-bye for now.
Oh, yeah.